Good morning. Welcome to another Morning Barbados presentation. I'm Tisha Hines. I'll be here with you until 8 o'clock this morning. We are coming to you live from the Wildey showroom of Standard Distribution, where we have been for quite a few weeks, and we definitely are enjoying this brand new partnership. A special hello and good morning to those of you watching. I might have to say good day to those of you watching in different parts of the world. Always good to have you online with us. And remember, you can find us online on every major platform. So a special good morning, though, to the viewers watching on CBC TV 8 on our free-to-air channel and on channel 108 on our MCTV channels as well. So we have a good show planned for you today. It's midweek. I know a former host who would call it hump day, middle of the week. So we definitely are moving on smartly. So whatever you have planned today, get there safely. We, of course, can see here in the Wildey area, it's quite busy as well, as you can see all of the traffic passing in the background. So good morning to you if you're getting ready to make that commute to work or to school. So coming up on today's show, as we continue celebrating women all this week as we look toward International Women's Day, Dr. Halima Dishong will be here. Now, Dr. Dishong is senior lecturer and head of the IGDS at the University of the West Indies, and she will be here to tell us about an International Women's Day high-level panel discussion and Women's Night Market that is coming up in celebration of all of that, so of International Women's Day rather. So we're going to tell you a lot about that particular discussion and how you can get in on it. You're going to hear more about the panelists who are going to make up that particular discussion. And then, of course, you know, on Wednesdays, we love to connect with the Human Resources Management Association of Barbados. Today is no different. Nicholas Robert, the president, will be in with Dr. Dawn Marie Holder, career counseling specialist and internship coordinator for the University of the West Indies. You know, it's sports term. It's also that term where a lot of students are getting ready to take exams, and it will be good to look at some of the directions that students can go in, what parents need to do to be able to get their little ones ready for the next stage of life. Reverend Martin Taylor, Deputy Chief Commissioner of the Barbados Boy Scouts Association, is going to be in. We are telling you about them celebrating 112 years of being in existence. So kudos to everybody who's been a scout, who's still in the scout movement, and we're going to find out a whole lot more about that. Plus, he was supposed to be here last week, wasn't able to make it. We're hoping that we see him today. Anderson Pilgrim, he's very, very busy. He's in for a quick minute to put on the Caribbean Arts Fair. So he's the executive director, and he will be in to talk about the 14th edition of the Caribbean Arts Fair that's coming up here in Barbados. World Water Day 2024, the Mural contest. We're going to talk about that too. So lots and lots coming up on Morning Barbados, and we definitely want to make sure that you share with us today in all that we're bringing you. Now, before we move on, let me reach over here. I just wanted to alert you to something, because we had this young lady on literally just a few weeks ago, and I was saddened to hear last evening that she passed away. Former national basketball and physical education teacher Shakira Shuri has died after a long battle with cervical cancer. Shuri, who was just 39, was also the second vice president of the Barbados Amateur Basketball Association, a former netball and basketball senior manager and coach, and she passed away yesterday morning. She was a guest here on the program as she spoke about her battle with cancer. So on behalf of everyone here at Morning Barbados, we wish to extend our deepest condolences to her family, friends, colleagues at this time of her passing. A true gem of the soil. May she rest in peace. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, Dr. John Barker is in. We're having a discussion that you won't want to miss. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning. to you.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Morning to you.
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package because keeping you informed is our #1 priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is to you and keeping you reliably informed. Join us every day at 7 p.m. for CBC Newsnight.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you indeed. Happy Wednesday. Welcome back to Morning Barbados. And it's always great to see a familiar face. The weird thing is, I feel like this face is familiar, but I've only ever seen this face online. And now here is Dr. John Barker, consultant obstetrician gynecologist, joining us.
Thank you.
On set.
Thank
for
you
the
for
very
having me.
first time.
Good morning.
So good to have you with us. Good morning.
Same here. Thanks for having me.
All right. So today we're looking at laparoscopic excision of endometriosis.
Yes,
Sounds
please.
like a lot to unpack. So let's start at the very beginning and talk about what would bring you to the place where then your gynecologist would make the decision that that is what is needed.
Right. So essentially, endometriosis is whereby you have cells like the lining of the womb growing inside the actual pelvis itself. And every month when you're getting your menses, you get these small microscopic bleeds, and as a result, you get a lot of inflammation and scarring. Now, in terms of traditional practice would be to put you on the oral contraceptive pill if the diagnosis is suspected. And if, for argument's sake, in 3 to 6 months, the pain isn't decreasing somewhat or just getting worse, then the issue would be in relation to pain management. If you're on the oral contraceptive pill, analgesia and stuff, then surgery would be one of the options that you would look at. Now, the gold standard is laparoscopic surgery, which is keyhole surgery. And as a result, what we do is put a camera through the navel to have a look inside the pelvis. Now, once we diagnose endometriosis, because I have to differentiate what is called a diagnostic laparoscopy versus operative laparoscopy. So the diagnostic is just having a look and saying about, oh yes, this is what you have, this is what we're going to do. But it doesn't actually treat the disease process, all right? Whereas the operative laparoscopy is whereby you see the disease and you actually treat it. Now, you can treat it either by ablation, which is a quicker method, by burning, or cutting it out. Cutting it out is called excision. But very few gynecologists on island actually do that procedure, and that is the most important take-home point. In terms of gold standard treatment would be excisional treatment.
So I see that you mentioned that endometriosis can cause psychological issues.
Yes,
in
please.
terms of maybe identifying some of the symptoms that people might be able to say, you know, this seems as though there's something going on. So maybe we should double back to that.
Yeah. Well, what I did was an audit in relation to laparoscopic excisions in Barbados. It's the first audit of its kind in relation to getting a data set in relation to exactly what we're dealing with and what are the issues. What you will find is well over 80-90% of patients with endometriosis would have psychological issues, because you can imagine a person in pain all of the time. There would be have some sort of depressive symptoms. Sometimes the parents might be, or in-laws might be telling them, well, when are you going to get children and stuff? So that actually plays on the psyche as well. So there is a large psychological component in relation to having this disease.
The audit. Let's talk a little bit about some of the other benefits of conducting the audit.
Right. So what we sadly miss in Barbados is data. All right. And essentially, what an audit is to improve the level and the quality of care and to improve patient outcomes. And essentially, what we do is look at aspects of care, and then we compare it to specific criteria, which would be the gold standard. So what we looked at were the amount of patients that had this procedure and the outcome in relation to the quality of life. So, and it's important to differentiate that although excisions can be done open by open technique, which is a scar, like if you're doing a hysterectomy, laparoscopic excision is the gold standard. So what we found was that in relation to numbers, we found that there were 2 peaks in relation to like the ages of patients with endometriosis undergoing the procedure, and the importance is the age, which would be between 26 and 30, and also which would be of importance in early childbearing years, and then the second peak was around 36 to 40. That's important in relation to like career women, because that is when they will actually now think about getting pregnant, but some of them will have these issues in relation to endometriosis and stuff.
Well, can we talk a little bit about maybe methodology, your sample population, and I know you mentioned ages.
Yes.
So that gave us an idea of, you know, the people whom you went to. But then in terms of the numbers, how many women are affected, and how many women were you able to canvas for this particular audit?
Right. So essentially, the incidence of endometriosis is 1 to 3 in 10 women. All right. Now, in relation to data from the hospital, I'm gonna get any because there aren't this procedure being done. So then where I got the data from was my own private clinic, because in 2019 we decided to form a multidisciplinary team for endometriosis. So there's about 8 members in the actual team. So where the data came from was local population and Caribbean population as well, because we are the endometriosis regional center as well too. So essentially, the subset that we got was included both patients for laparoscopic and open excisional procedures, but because we wanted to go directly for the gold standard, which is the laparoscopic excision, then this was what the audit was based upon.
What were some of the things that you tested for to be able to figure out, you know, what women were suffering through?
Right. So essentially, what we looked at was the history examination and in relation to if they were like on the oral contraceptive pill, Mirena coil, and what's not. So what we found was in relation to how they presented, most patients present with pain, and it's classic symptoms, which would be pain throughout the month, which gets worse with the periods, and then it comes back down. So we found a great percentage of women had that symptom. A lot of women also too complained of painful intercourse as well too, in addition to irritable bowel syndrome symptoms, which would be constipation, bloating, and or diarrhea. That was one of the important findings as well. And in terms of patients with repeat surgeries, 20% of the sample actually would have been having a repeat surgery, which is important because most of them would have had diagnostic laparoscopy. And the issue is that even though you diagnose the problem isn't actually treated surgically. So these patients are still in pain because remember, if you're treating a patient with the pill or non-steroidal analgesia, etc., even if you do the diagnostic laparoscopy, it doesn't actually make the pain better because you haven't actually treated the cause. So we found about 24% of these patients had a second surgery by the time they actually had the excisional surgery.
Well, that must be frustrating to think that you can do one procedure, a major procedure like that, that is somewhat invasive, and then to have to go do something else.
Yes, and that's one of the psychological aspects, because sometimes if you're counseling a patient and they will say, well, they had a surgery, so then you have to actually explain to them, well, no, what you had was a diagnostic procedure and not an operative procedure. So then, so then sometimes they go, they would be disappointed, one, and two, they'll be frustrated because they're still in pain, and then depending on where they had the surgery and if they had it privately done, then that's another set of funds that they have to look for then to get the issue sorted.
We started by saying that you know, there's always a dearth of empirical data available in our neck of the woods. You can go online at any given time and do a search and find in different parts of the world, but sometimes we in this area of the world, they often lump us together, Latin America and the Caribbean,
Yes.
but I find that Caribbeans, if I can deem us that, you know, we tend to react to some medicines differently, have our own numbers in terms of things. So what will this particular study, what will your efforts do to help advance the way that you treat women who are suffering through?
Okay, so essentially what the audit showed was that in relation to multidisciplinary care has been shown internationally to improve outcome, but multidisciplinary care, prior to 2019 wasn't widely implemented here in relation to treatment. So what we found was that around 20 to 25% of patients would have had multidisciplinary care in relation to more than 3 members of a multidisciplinary team. The major input would be from the lead gynecologist and the psychologist due to the results of the audit showing that well over 90 people, well, about 75% of people would have had some sort of psychological issue. So the psychologist is a very important part of dealing with women with endometriosis. About 20 to 25% of patients would have had some bladder or bowel involvement. This was seen in the audit. However, when we are actually talking to the patients in the interim, what we look for is other constitutional symptoms like bowel symptoms or bladder symptoms, and get them seen by the respective specialists, so that when we actually plan the surgery, the actual urologist or the surgeon is actually present at the time of surgery, versus telling the urologist or the surgeon, well, I have this patient here, we think she got bowel issues or urological issues. When we go to do the surgery, can you please come to see? So the actual aspect of an MDT working prior to the surgery is actually very important.
All right, so outcomes. How does this improve a woman's quality of life?
Right, so in relation to when we had compared patients prior to surgery and after surgery, what we found that in the first 3 months, 96% of people had tremendous improvement or no symptoms at all. And when you ask them in relation to the pain that they had prior to surgery, what they would tell you is that the pain that they had has gone, but the pain that they're having will be the pain from the actual surgery itself, which is good. Some patients who are more difficult to treat because they had different organ involvement, what they would tell you is that the majority of them would tell you is that the pain has actually decreased or absent, but they actually have a different type of pain. So sometimes they can have sciatica type pain or irritable bowel syndrome type pain as well too. So as a result, then that's where a multidisciplinary team will come in, because they have different pain specialists. Because as a gynecologist, I can only go this high, but then if I get a pain specialist, they can actually improve the outcome for you.
All right, well, that's certainly a great deal, and it sheds greater light on what, you know, some women who are going through endometriosis experience.
Yes, please.
Really on a daily basis. And this is a condition that I really didn't hear very much about it, like until like the last 10 years or so.
Yes, please.
Why was that so? Was it that they weren't being diagnosed? It was little known of. What was the challenge?
Right. The taboo. Usually when you have adolescents with bad period pains or constant pain, most adults dismiss their symptoms. That's the major issue. However, in terms of diagnosis, from the audit, what it showed was that most people will have the symptoms in the first year, 12 months to 24 months. And then the actual incidence would decrease, and then it would increase up to 5 years, 5 to 6 years in terms of durations and symptoms. So sometimes it could be a lack of diagnosis, because endometriosis is one part of the issue for chronic pelvic pain, because it can have bladder issues, it can have bowel issues as well. So then there might be a lull in relation to diagnosis due to the other confounding factors. Sometimes you can get patients with bowel, bladder, and endometriosis symptoms. So those are the most difficult to treat because they got 3 different disorders. Sometimes you can have weird and wonderful bladder syndromes that you might not even see in Barbados. We had one that we had diagnosed, she had pain for well over 5-6 years. So just to put a context on things, but essentially major what it is educational issues in relation to bringing everything to the forefront, and then too in relation to diagnosis in terms of having patients, treating them, but not actually doing the diagnostic process to make sure that they have or don't have the disease.
Well, that's some pretty interesting stuff. Always great to hear from you, and very intrigued by what we hear. And I'm sure we will help a lot of people who might be thinking, maybe this is something I've been overlooking, and I need to look at it a little closer, particularly in younger women. Difficult to hear that other women would be dismissing younger women about pain they're experiencing. Final question: how difficult is it to access that interdisciplinary care that you talked about? Do you usually have a circle of doctors to whom you refer patients to get that care? I know sometimes it can be difficult if you have to go among several doctors to kind of get on their roster of care.
Okay, so essentially the way how it works internationally, or the way how it's set at the clinic, is that in terms of the point gynecologist would be like myself. So once we see you, assess you, and depending on if you have any psychological issues or organ issues, then we would automatically refer you to a designated member of the team who we would refer people to, and usually they will get seen quite quickly within the month or so, and then essentially what we would do would be come up for an individual plan for the actual patient in relation to the care and the projected outcome. What I would usually tell patients is, like, if I see them, I would give them a whole barrage of stuff, meaning that they will have expectations of what to actually look forward to. So I would say, well, we're here, this is where we expect to get, but then these will be the intermediary positions until we get there. Sometimes it can be rough, sometimes it can cause a lot of frustration in relation to whatever patients went through before they actually got to us. So we just try to work with everyone, but usually in relation to, like, if you have like bladder symptoms, then refer you to the urologist promptly so that they can get their assessment and then come back to us.
Can absolutely see how it's all about managing expectations.
Yes, please.
Once you have this procedure done, is it possible that you'd have to get a third procedure if possible, or have it done again?
No, that's a good question. All right, in terms of international data, usually in terms of most people who have surgery, around about 3 to 5% may need a repeat procedure within 10 years or so. But what you have to realize is that these would be the very severe cases. The mild cases, because most of the disease process is actually what we call peritoneal, whereby the peritoneum, which is like a cling film over the organs, that's the majority of cases. So most of those people will not need a repeat surgery. Sometimes if you have like what we call endometriomas, which is the endometriosis on the actual ovary itself, so it forms a cyst. Sometimes it can get a lot of adhesions from that, fertility issues, depending on if you have deep infiltrating endometriosis, whereby it's actually in the organs and stuff, then sometimes because of all the scar tissue and the fibrosis, sometimes you might need a repeat surgery within another 5 to 7 years or so. But those are very small.
And does the pain taper off after 40? I know that you specifically targeted these two groups. You said younger women, maybe 26 into 30s, then mid-30s to 40s. Women who are experiencing the problems with endometriosis, as they get older, does it taper off? Does it get easier for them?
Right. So essentially, the two groups that I speak about will be the groups that have the most people come in with symptoms. Now, once you come to menopause or like over 50, then in terms of the estrogen and stuff, that decreases, so your symptoms actually decrease. Now, the issue would be a certain subset of these women will be actually getting hysterectomies and stuff. But the only issue with that is that sometimes even if you get a hysterectomy, sometimes the disease process is not actually removed in its entirety. So sometimes it can still get issues from that. So that's why we are pushing in relation to complete excisions and stuff to make sure that these patients do not actually come back later on with pain and stuff.
Well, this is major stuff, but definitely conversations that we need to have. And, you know, I commend you and your team for this audit that obviously sheds further light on people like us who are suffering through. And when I say like us, I mean in our neck of the woods.
Yes, please.
Yes? All right. So thank you so much. At some point in time, Dr. Barker, I would love for us to have a discussion again on fibroids as well.
Yeah, that's fine.
As we work through what we're talking about. I had a question that I will forward to you after an email that was sent after the last show about
fine.
such. So again, thank you so much.
Thanks a lot
For making the trek here to the studio.
No problem. Yeah.
And we look forward to seeing you again in the future.
You. Thanks for having me.
All right, we're going to take another break and come back, hear from Wildey. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you indeed. I don't know what your plans are for today, but I most certainly hope that you have Morning Barbados penciled into your early mornings so that you can get in here and, of course, find out all that's going on. Remember, all this week, we definitely are sharing about women and how life shapes up around a time of year like this. International Women's Day is coming up this week. So we are going to be focusing on women in a lot of what we do as well. We absolutely love to have conversations with the Human Resources Management Association of Barbados for more reasons than one, but because over the years, there definitely have been some challenges with the way that people think about HR. You know, a lot of people say HR is not there for you. Never believe that an HR office is for the employees. They're hired to see after the interest of the business. So limit your interaction, limit how you engage with them, what you do. That most certainly is something that we've heard through the years. So we're hoping that we can come to some common ground with these conversations that we're having so that we understand the position that HR practitioners come from. Now today we want to focus on career counseling as we look to the world of work and career path exploration. That's a major part of what HR needs to do as well. So some planning, from succession planning to onboarding to bringing new people in to managing interns and internships. As a matter of fact, we have an intern here with us of sorts. So he's been interning in radio for quite some time, and now he's in the TV side of things. So it can be a little different for young people to come into a business and things like that. So it's wonderful and quite timely for us to have this discussion today. Help me welcome Nicholas Roberts, who's President of the Human Resources Management Association of Barbados. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. And today he's brought along Dr. Dawn Marie Holder, who is a career counseling specialist and internship coordinator.
Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. Good to have you guys with us. Let's start by talking about, Nicholas, for you to set the scene. What are some of the emerging trends and industries that are shaping the future of work?
So whenever we have discussions with students or university leavers, I ask them to look at what is going on in the world of work or the world generally when it comes to technology. Once again, everyone is tired of hearing about AI, everyone is tired of hearing about how technology is influencing the workspace. But look at the job that you're doing. So if I use myself as an example, I have to look and see how it is that technology is impacting my work as an HR professional and how it is that it impacts the work that I do within the businesses that I service. So I think that should shape the scene for students in terms of the areas or programs that they're doing their degrees in, and possibly if those jobs are going to exist within the next, I can't even say 3 to 5 years, next year, next 2 years, because the world is changing and technology is bringing that about very, very quickly. So I think students need to really take a look about the programs that they're interested in and the degrees that they're studying and see how it is that technology is impacting that on a not only a regional and a national scale, but an international scale.
Dr. Dawn Marie, let's take a step back and try to help parents. And when I say parents at this point in time, I mean me. I mean, we might be helping some other people too. But how do we counsel our children? I read an article some time ago in the New York Times, and I found it quite intriguing. And the author posited, you shouldn't ask your children what they want to be. You should, because then you kind of limit their thinking about careers of the future. So where should parents go when preparing their children to kind of enter the school space in preparation for the world of work?
Thank you for that question, Tisha. As Nicholas was saying, look at what we're doing. A lot of what we're doing involves technology. But not only that, we have an opportunity, even right here in Barbados, where we're working with people from different parts of the world, some of them as close as Trinidad and Tobago, and some of them, you know, from as far as China and so on. So what we also have to do is, how do we create some opportunities for our children to learn about different cultures, to broaden their perspective, not just in terms of how they use technology to get what they need to do done, but also what are those things that might help them to be a good leader, whether they choose to do that in a kitchen or restaurant type of environment, or if they might do that within an athletic or sport. So what are these opportunities, whether it's a bake sale, brownies, that facilitates them learning to manage the environment around them, but also getting along with people, and people that may be very similar to them and people that may be very different from them as well. So these are some of the activities that you may want to do or facilitate your children doing, so that you broaden their perspective on what the world has to offer, and then their skills and their interests and the value systems as well will then help to inform what they do first, second, or third along that journey while at school and beyond.
Now, I know, Mr. President, in HR departments, you engage in a lot of strategic planning, looking forward to what the business will need down the line so that you're well serviced through the human resource, which we often refer to as our most important resource. So, what are businesses doing to more or less future-proof, their workspaces to ensure that they're getting the right types of graduates coming out of tertiary level schools or high schools, depending on the industry that you're in, to ensure that they're getting that quality or the type of employee that they need to keep the business running.
If we look at international agencies like the United Nations and those type of agencies, they have programs that are called Young Leader Programs. And the purpose of those programs are to look for young, emerging, bright sparks and talents who are either still within university or who have just left the university space, and they are creating opportunities for them to develop as young professionals. And I think those type of programs are very important in terms of looking to see how it is you can develop that talent from very, very young, whether it's a person is in their early 20s or whatever the case may be, because you're looking to see how it is that you can make them into a very prominent leader within your organization. And I think through giving those opportunities, like those young emerging leaders programs, internships, those are some great programs in terms of various organizations utilize in terms of tapping into the talent straight out of university to see how it is that they can, develop the next leaders within the organization. There are also rotational programs within the organization in terms of when it says that you're an established person within the organization, you may have, completed your degree as a mature person or someone that has started within your career, but you may realize that you want to switch from a career field that you're currently in. Those are just some of the few things that HR practitioners or HR departments do within organizations and with the organizations they're working for and within to push that strategic planning and looking to the future in terms of the talent that we have. So in a nutshell, I would say young emerging programs in terms of developing that younger talent and rotational programs within the organization.
Rotational programs definitely are very interesting. Your take though, Dr. Donnery, because what many people who are in organizations learned when they were in university at age 20, by 40, a lot of that seems to be out of the window. So, a lot of people have to focus on retooling. What place should employers put on ensuring that they create opportunities for their employees to be able to move forward in the businesses, not only to bring along some of maybe the experiential and institutional knowledge that they've gained through the years, but to be able to function in this new age?
Yeah, so just going back a little from what Nicholas shared, one of the things, so this month we're doing our World of Work activities, and one of the things like organizations like HERMAB and professionals in HR, they spend time also working and developing students who, before they have to step in to an organization, get an opportunity to get some assistance with getting feedback on their interview skills, getting feedback on how they're presenting in terms of a CV, getting feedback even in terms of how they are presenting themselves, from as basic as when we heard that dressing for success. So our HR professionals are coming into our institutions, they're working alongside us so that students who are in training, they get that feedback from the beginning of what is it that might help you to stand out in one company versus the other, or one industry versus the other. The other side of it as well is that, as if COVID has taught us nothing, is that, or anything, is we have to retool. And so whether that is formal programs within the organization or through institutions like ours, which facilitate continuous learning, there are these opportunities that you can tap into the skills that you need when you need them. So we are working, I think, in tandem before the students get into the work environment, but we're also working alongside industry as well, so that as industry has specific needs, whether that is as basic as customer service, to how do we integrate technology and data within our HR, within our finance sector, these are ways that we are working to make sure that the current student and the transitioning person in the employment environment, that they're able to continue to be of value to the organization.
A lot of the times we talk as though, experiential knowledge or maybe length of tenure is separate and distinct, almost mutually exclusive from new people coming in with new knowledge and stuff like that. How do we get to a place where we're able to appreciate the both of them? Mm-hmm. The fact that we do a lot of the times need people who know and understand procedure, but we also need people who come with new and brilliant ideas, innovation to help move the business forward.
So I think answering that question is double-pronged from the instance. If you look at what global businesses are doing, they're actually moving away from programs in terms of degrees, and they're more so looking for persons with skills. So what skill set do you have? Mm-hmm. So you may have been a baker, you may have worked in managing a business, but if you can bring that skill set into my workplace, how can that benefit us? And they're not necessarily looking for the tangible paper degree program that you have. On the flip side, we can also look and see how it is that, diversity and inclusion within the workspace, because what I may bring as a younger HR practitioner, a more mature HR practitioner may have a totally different view set or point of view, or approach something from a different point of view. So it is harnessing the talents and the skills of people in the best way possible, and that is at the core and the nature of HR, to meet the business demands of the organization.
How do you do that?
By having the right people in the right spaces at the right time.
All right, that sounds like a real HR answer, Dr. Dawn Marie. So I'm going to send it right on over to you. How do we do that in real terms from your perspective?
So I think mentorship and sponsorship are two of the ways that can happen. So mentorship is where we are supporting a younger professional, a student who is interested maybe in developing as an HR practitioner, as a psychologist, as an accountant. What does studying accounting, what does that look like in the day-to-day environment? Am I going to be dealing with auditing? A word that we don't like coming up, like tax. What is it that it looks like when I'm working in those areas? But then when I'm in the space and I'm doing well, or you've observed me in an internship, you now have the opportunity to do some sponsorship, because someone may not know Dawn Marie, right? But they may know you as the person who's already hired or working in the organization. So how do you bring my name to the space to say, look, here's this young lady or here's this young man that I've been working with, and I believe that they can add value to this project that you are working in. So just very quickly, in relation to the question you asked about, qualifications versus skills, do we need both of them? And I want to say that we need a bit of both, right? That nurture versus nature conversation. So there are going to be those skills that we learn, but then there are going to be those things that we do naturally. And for organizations to really continue to be competitive, it's really about how you marry the two of them, whether that's having your older workforce and your younger workforce work together, and those with the technical and those with the more natural abilities to get things done, to access resources. Your ability to do those things will help you to move forward in this very rapidly changing environment that we find ourselves in.
It's not been lost on me, Nicholas, that you talked about the fact that a lot of organizations are moving past, those hardcore, square educational requirements, and moving back to what they're calling soft skills. Mm-hmm. And, that always gets me, because if they're so important, why are we calling them soft? To my mind, these are the things that make things happen, make people effective in the way they engage and interact, able to be effective in what they do in the businesses. So we're having that conversation in the international space. Are we truly having that conversation in a Barbadian context where we know that education kind of has been the gold standard for us. Education has been, if you, and people still say that, well, she has the paper. They don't care a lot of the times if you can get the job done. But they say, well, this is the one with the 12 master's degrees, so she must be able to. We still hear people refer to schools. Well, this person went to this school or that school, so they must be brilliant. So are we truly having these conversations about the place that soft skills can play in moving our businesses forward? Or are we still hung up so much on qualifications and thinking about where people went to school that we're not willing to move to that spaces yet?
So controversially, I will say in the space we operate within Barbados, some people still do look at that type of thing, but to Dawn Marie's point, I think we still need to marry the two in terms of nature versus nurture, in terms of how is it that we are developing our young people within the school system, not just at the tertiary level, but from very, very young, and looking and honing those talents and see what it is that they're interested in, and developing them. Quick anecdote using myself, almost 10 years ago I started out as an HR intern incidentally at Standard. Only because of leaving university, and 1 week from leaving university I started an internship at Anson McKell, and that then gave me the chance and the space to then have other opportunities to go into different workspaces and be eligible to go into different workspaces and get a real job, and that was through an internship. So I'm saying that to say that people and students need to utilize the tools at their disposal when it is that they're in university, when they're out of university, understanding what it is that you bring to the table, and being able and willing to step out of yourself to push your talents to the forefront, whether you have that physical paper or that degree, or if it is that you have those soft skills and you know that you can sell yourself as a person. It's all about understanding what the market needs and being able to tap into that.
As students, they're not often thinking that way. So quickly, as we wrap up, what are some of those skills that children, young people should emphasize to ensure that they're really preparing themselves for the world of work and making themselves attractive to potential hirers?
So if we all have the paper, how do we stand out? And can you talk to someone? Can you look at them in their eye when you're speaking? Do you know culturally when you're not supposed to look them in the eye? So being able to communicate, being able to understand what your industry requires, what are those unique things, are some of those things, and be able to articulate it. So if you've done an internship, if you've been a student leader, how are you able to say, okay, I've been the treasurer of this association? What does that mean? What are 3 points? What are 3 things, accomplishments that you've made that help you to stand out? So it's being able to take the experiences that you've had, those qualifications maybe that you're garnering, and be able to add some behavioral things to them, add some evidence to them that I did not just do them, but I did them well. These are the examples of how I might have solved this problem, how I resolved this conflict, how I dealt with this difficult person. So we're not just saying I can do it in terms of I have communication skills or I'm computer literate, but I'm giving the evidence, the examples of how I've done that in my journey up until this point.
All right, excellent. Final word, President.
I would just say to university students, and just students by and large, tap into these skill sets that you have. To Dawn Marie's point, understand what you may be strong within. I know your parents or persons within your life may want you to go into one career field, but you know what you're strong within, and be confident in yourself in developing as a professional and as a person, whether it is that you want to be a baker, whether it is that you want to be a CEO, and utilize the skills at your disposal. The world is your oyster, but you need to recognize that you're not just competing with the person sitting down next to you in the classroom, you're competing by and large with persons on the international stage.
We definitely have to continue this conversation, because when you talk about interns competing as they come into workspaces, then, you know, that's maybe why we're seeing some of the tussling that we're seeing going on that needs to be managed by HR departments and management generally, because a lot of people are thinking, why am I training this young person to take my job? So next time, we're going to take a break here and come on back. Remember, the Human Resources Management Association of Barbados, active organization here in Barbados, and doing lots to build your interest in HR and, of course, your knowledge of what they do and what you need to do to be able to be the best employee and person generally that you need to be. Hey, bright sunshine here in Wildey. We have lots more coming up as we continue to celebrate. We're going to tell you about an initiative for International Women's Day. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package because keeping you informed is our #1 priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is to you and keeping you reliably informed. Join us every day at 7 p.m. for CBC Newsnight.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
There are some things that make mornings even better. And one of those things is Morning Barbados. You'll step into your day informed, inspired, and entertained. Tune in to CBC TV8 Monday to Friday from 6:30 to 8 a.m. for Morning Barbados. Your morning must have.
Morning to you.
Coming soon to this station, live coverage of the Barbados Secondary Schools Athletics Championships 2024 from March 20th to 22nd. BSAC, sponsored by the Student Revolving Loan Fund and CG United.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning to you indeed. It's time for an update of the news on this Wednesday, March 6th. The post of Executive Chairman of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital is being abolished and replaced with that of Chief Executive Officer, which existed before. This is being done through the introduction in Parliament of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital Amendment Bill 2024. Leading off debate on the bill, Minister of State in the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Davidson Ishmael, said the change in 2019 to Executive Chairman was the correct move at that time. He adds that reverting to Chief Executive Officer is indicative of the continuous improvement at the QEH.
There will be time, Mr. Speaker, in this House to delve into the operations and a lot of the plans that we have, the strategic plans that we have to continue that improvement in a tangible way so that all of our citizens can feel it and see it. And we will discuss that even as we come into the in next week's session of Parliament. And there will be a time for a fulsome debate and disclosures relative to a lot of these strategic plans. But at this point in time, I am satisfied that this amendment, and this government is satisfied that this amendment to revert to and to create the post of Chief Executive Officer is going to give us the structure in management that will help us to improve the operations, the execution of the strategic mandate of the board and of the government at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital.
Now, the bill was not supported by opposition leader Ralph Thorne, however. He says it seems intended to serve an individual interest.
I am concerned that this legislation departs from the principle of the common good. It is clear that we are using the legislation as an expedience. You have somebody who is qualified for a fuse position, so you change the law for that person. You have another person who may not be qualified or indeed may not be interested in the fuse position, and you amend the law. That is not, with all due respect, that is not how legislation must be used. That is not an approach to the act, the constitutional act of legislation.
The bill was passed in the lower house. For Barbados to tap into external markets and attract potential buyers of local poultry, there must first be standards in place that satisfy sanitary and phytosanitary regulations. That's according to Minister of Agriculture, Food and Nutritional Security, Indar Ware. He says there have been extensive consultations with industry stakeholders on food safety legislation, which, if passed, will open the door for exportation.
Once the legislation is completed, passed, and then we have the regulations in place, then it starts to speak to the standards that we have to uphold in order for us to be able to adapt the SPS measures properly, and then to be able then to look at how we can look at markets where poultry then can be exported. But as I said earlier, we have done some work with the cruise ships, and that is, for me, low-hanging fruit, and that is where I want us to continue focusing.
Central Bank Governor Dr. Kevin Greenidge is underscoring the important role investment will play if Barbados is to meet its economic growth targets. Mr. Greenidge was speaking as he reflected on his first year in office, having taken up the role on March 1st of last year. He says increased investment from the private and public sectors, as well as foreign interests, will all play a critical role.
What we are hoping to get over the midterm is 5%. I don't real growth now, real economic growth. While we building on our framework, it's about 2.5, just to be conservative. We want to get 5. To get 5%, this is the work program, I think. To get 5% economic growth, you need the private sector to double their investment from just under $1 billion now to at least $2 billion per annum, right? Public sector to increase their investment to about 5% of GDP, which is about close to 600 million. And foreign direct investments to move double what they're doing to about 15%.
Dr. Greenidge says it is indeed an attainable target, as the country has seen high levels of investment in the early 2000s, although it fell off as a result of different shocks. According to figures presented in last month's central bank review, the country recorded 4.4% growth in 2023. The governor has responded to concerns that this growth is not being felt by all, explaining it will take time to reach some pockets in society.
If you look around, in general, you will see evidence of that economic growth. You see much more construction activities. You see just in persons going out and dining out. You see that there's an increased demand. You can't hardly find space. You see every social events personnel there. You find people are shopping more. You try getting a flight into Barbados. You can't get one at a nice price. And you remember the price is $3,000 just a trip across the Miami or what? It's full. So there's evidence of it. Yes, there are going to be areas, pockets, and individuals who, you're not feeling it yet. But trust me, it will come.
As we take a peek at sports, Harrison College and Combermere are out front after day one of the field events at this year's Dasani Powerade Barbados Secondary Schools Athletic Championship. Competing on home turf at Crumpton Street, HC lead the girls with 34 points, followed by the St. Michael's School on 26 points, and Combermere third with 24 points. In the boys, Combermere are ahead with 31, while Queen's College are second with 19, and SMS are third with 18. CBC's Anmar Goodrich-Boyce takes a look at some of the day's actions.
The wait for BSAT was finally over as the field events got going today at Harrison College, and it was a case of home drums beating first in the under-20 girls long jump. Fierce competition among the girls aiming to hit the Carifta qualifying standards. This is the second flight, and you're looking at the champion on your screen. Fast speed down the runway from HC Shania Thomas, and the execution is almost flawless. 5.64 meters on her fifth attempt for victory. Zakia Hunt of Combermere with 5.50 meters was second. Also impressive, with Sky Spencer Lane of the St. Michael's School taking third with a best leap of 5.37. Let's move to the under-20 boys. Same event, and it was a keenly contested battle between arch rivals Tion Haynes of Combermere and Aaron Messiah of the SMS Cougars. But Haynes was just too hot to handle. This is poetry in motion. The defending champion went up and on. Just listen to the background. Fantastic. 7.16 meters on the second attempt. That's a done deal. Messiah had to settle for second with a leap of 6.89, and Kazion King of St. George Secondary finishing third. His distance was 6.81 meters. Move along to the under-17 boys javelin showdown, where SMS dominated in the form of Xavier Knight, who was in charge from the get-go. He was crowned champion with a best throw of 43.70. His closest challenger was Aliens Ramon Redmond, 41.33, with Dighton Griffiths Deshaun Williams third. His distance was 40.15. BSAT continues tomorrow with more action from the field. Anmar Goodrich-Boyce, CBC Sports.
Thank you, Anmar. That's news for this time. Remember to stay tuned for Newsday at 12 noon here on TV8, or tune in to our radio network of stations, 100.7 FM, 98.1 The One, or 94.7 FM for the world at 1. Morning Barbados continues after this. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
There are some things that make mornings even better. And one of those things is Morning Barbados. You'll step into your day informed, inspired, and entertained. Tune in to CBC TV8 Monday to Friday from 6:30 to 8 a.m. for Morning Barbados. Your morning must-have.
Coming soon to this station, live coverage of the Barbados Secondary Schools Athletics Championships 2024 from March 20th to 22nd. BSAC, sponsored by the Student Revolving Loan Fund and CG United.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Morning to you.
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package because keeping you informed is our number one priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is to you and keeping you reliably informed. Join us every day at 7 p.m. for CBC Newsnight.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Welcome back. Just around 7:15 in Barbados and across the Eastern Caribbean. Again, bright sunshine. It's so wonderful to feel the sun on my face while sitting at work. Usually it's in a studio and we don't get to take that all in. So it's wonderful to be out and about and experience what's happening. Are you watching me? Are you looking at the traffic in the back? I'm looking at the traffic in the back sometimes too, so I can't blame you. We're going to tell you about something really exciting now. The Barbados Boy Scouts Association Scout Month. How about that? They're celebrating a big number, 112. That's right. So let's say good morning to Reverend Martin Taylor, who is Deputy Chief Commissioner of the Barbados Boy Scouts Association. Thanks for joining me around the table. Good morning to you.
Good morning, ma'am. How are you?
I'm doing well, thank you. I don't know, the last day somebody called me ma'am, but it's okay, I suppose.
Force of habit.
All right, there we go. So we're talking about Scout Month. Let's talk first of all about what's happening with the association right now as you work toward or work through this major celebration, 112 years.
And that is a long time. So the anniversary date is the 9th of March, when the first troop was started 112 years ago. So on Sunday, it is our annual Founders Day Parade and Service. It will be held this year at the Abundant Life Assembly, where we assemble at the Botanical Gardens as a group. We march en masse from Botanical Gardens to the Abundant Life, have our service, and then we march back through the Bush Hall community again. That is the major element of our month of activities. On Saturday, the anniversary date, the 9th, we're having a tree planting ceremony at Hills of Wood, where our Chief Scout will again do some tree planting, a part of our environmental protection policies. And then there are a number of activities going through the month, culminating in April with a family fun day at Queen's Park.
So that's a lot of excitement for the month of activities that are planned. A little birdie told me that recently you had an award ceremony. Tell us a little bit more about that and the significance.
Yes, we did. We have 4 sections: Beavers, Cubs, Scouts, and Ventures. So for our younger sections, the Beavers and the Cubs, they had their award ceremony where they would have done their work and they would have been awarded the highest awards in their sections. Would be the Mahogany Awards and the Bronze Awards. So after the Beavers and Cubs would have done their badge of work and all their other assignments, if you've completed all the criteria, they would have been awarded their awards in their sections.
Well, congratulations to all of the awardees, and I'm sure lots of the young people who are part of it are going to look forward to getting some of those awards
for sure
in future. So congrats to all of them. Well done to our Cub Scouts. Now, let's talk milestones through the years. As we say in Bajan parlance, well, I don't think I've ever said 112 years in 112 days. You know, we don't quite go so big. But let's talk about the milestone achievements that the Scouting Association has been able to kind of tick off that list through the years.
Well, to be around for 112 years is a milestone in itself. And for example, in church, we say that a generation in a church is about 60 years. And if you have, so we've survived almost 2 generations. But we have achieved much in that time. For example, our youngest MP, Corey Lane, for example, he was a scout. And then Sir Marston Gibson, the former Chief Justice, he was also a scout. So that just shows some of the contributions that our scouts have been and still are making. If you look in our protected services, laden with scouts, teachers, you will find a scout in almost every profession within the island. So we have been making our contributions to Barbados, and not only scouting in Barbados, but scouting worldwide.
Oh, that's beautiful. And, you know, it gives me some hope when I hear you say that Corey Lane is the youngest MP. I certainly have never thought about him in that light. But knowing that we went to primary school together, how about that? So maybe somebody will put young in front of my name too. Young is something. Maybe. Who knows? Let's talk now about the initiatives and programs that the association still offers, or that you have been able to develop through the years to help develop the young people who have passed through or are passing through the program.
One of our latest programs with one of our stakeholders, Massey Foundation, is what we call our LEAP program, Learning, Entrepreneurship, and Environmental Protection Program, where we are working with a pilot project with three troops, where scouts and our boys would learn some agricultural processes. We're making planters out of pallets. We're reusing plastic containers to make our planters from. And it gives the boys an understanding of what agriculture can be and bring it closer to home. So it brings the farm to the house or to the school or to the troop.
How is it received by a lot of these younger people? I know that for me, sometimes engaging with young people, we take for granted that they know certain things, like types of trees, or maybe, you know, how planting was done before. But we see that a lot of young people don't necessarily know. So how is that side of things, how is that received?
Well, that engagement has been going well. For example, we had a tent at AgriFest, and it was well received when the boys and the public at large saw what you could have done using recycled products. Because our pallet planters were hit, as well as using large plastic containers to do our planting as well. So yes, the boys are receiving it, and they're doing quite well.
Your theme this year is Boy Scouts, charting new paths. Talk to us about what it means, first of all, to have this theme, and how you're going to be playing it out throughout the year of celebrations.
Well, we as an association are trying to find new ways of doing the same thing. For example, in our leader training, we have now modularized our training, so you can assess a module of the training, some things at your convenience. We also have hybrid training systems. You can do some of your training online if you cannot attend training physically, because you know there are demands on everybody's time. So we are finding ways to do that, and even incorporating technology in the way that we exist as troops or packs.
All right, I want to talk now a little bit about you and about your journey with the Boy Scouts Association, because I'm told a lot of people kind of get in there and they never leave.
Yes, I was a cub at St. Matthias Boys, which is now Arthur Smith. And then at secondary school, I became a cadet rather than a scout. But when my son went to Charles F. Broome, I got back into the movement then, and now 20 years later, I'm still here. And I've moved from having a troop at St. Gabriel's, which was my first scout troop, and now into administration. So once you're in, you're in.
What are some of the amazing things that you've been able to accomplish throughout your tenure that you'd like to share with us?
Scouting is a way of making friends and connections, and it's a perfect place to travel. And I've attended courses and training throughout the region. I've made friends from across the world, and it has afforded me opportunities that I would not have imagined if I had not been a scout. And it equips you with lifelong skills that travel with you no matter where you go.
That's most important. The lifelong skills that you talk about. I often look on and wonder how people are able to translate some of it. So, you know, seeing that takes people through life really makes the difference. So share with us how we can support the Boy Scout Society, just general members of the community. How can we become involved in all of the initiatives and activities that you have going on?
We're always in need of leaders and partners. And so we're going to put a plug out for male leaders.
Okay.
All of those scouts and former scouts to come back and lend us some of your time and some of your expertise. We, as scouts, we know that the upfront cost for uniform can be prohibitive to some. So let's encourage you. Donate a uniform to a child. Pay it forward and contact your school or your troop. We're always in need of equipment and tools. So donate something to your troop or to your school. We're going to try to re-engage community some more. So look for active ways to help scouts in your community to make a contribution as well. So if you can partner with us as well, we rarely accept financial donations or any kind of donations of expertise, donations of equipment. So any way you can find to assist us, to assist the community. Because our thing is, when a young boy travels through the system from Beaver to Cub Scout to Venture, then to Leader, that person certainly is a well-rounded Barbadian citizen.
All right, excellent stuff. I want to thank you for your service to the association. And I mean, it's continued service. Congratulations
Thank you very
to
much.
the movement on 112 years of being in existence. And there are many people who talk about the time with the Boy Scouts Association and Cub Scouts and talk about how it helped to shape them as well. So again, congrats to you and thanks for coming in and sharing with us. Just remind everybody of the next activity that is coming up so that we're fully aware and know exactly what we need to do.
On Saturday, we're going to have our tree planting ceremony. And on Sunday, you will see us Sunday evening, 3 o'clock, Abundant Life, where we start our march down from about 2 o'clock. We leave Botanical Gardens. We go down through the Bush Hall community, have our service at the Abundant Life, and we then march back up, and then we have some time of fellowship before we depart.
All right, good stuff. Thank you so much, Reverend Martin Taylor, Deputy Chief Commissioner, Barbados Boy Scouts Association, talking about the celebration, 112 years in existence and going strong. It's time for another break here on Morning Barbados. Do stay with us. When we come back, we're telling you all about the CAFA Fair, that's the Caribbean Arts Fair that is coming up. Anderson Pilgrim is here. He's the executive director. We're also talking about World Water Day 2024. There's a mural contest, and we're going to tell you how you can be a part of it.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
There are some things that make mornings even better. And one of those things is Morning Barbados. You'll step into your day informed, inspired, and entertained. Tune in to CBC TV 8, Monday to Friday from 6:30 to 8 a.m. for Morning Barbados. Your morning must have.
Coming soon to this station, live coverage of the Barbados Secondary Schools Athletics Championships 2024 from March 20th to 22nd. BSAC, sponsored by the Student Revolving Loan Fund and CG United.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Morning to you. Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning indeed. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good to have you with us this morning. Have you had your cup of tea? Maybe a cup of coffee if you're anything like me. A little too much coffee sometimes. I can admit that, but it keeps me up and awake and maybe a little too alert. Who knows? I might back off. But I have some great people joining me. Alex Harewood and Sade Dean of the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center. All the C's joining me around the table. Good morning. Hi.
Good morning.
It's always good to see both of you.
Thank you.
Don't feel bad though, Alex, but I have a special place in my heart for Sade. Had an opportunity to see Sade kind of come through the ranks as a young lady, an activist, and advocate in, you know, all things to do with weather and climate and volunteerism and all of that. So it's really wonderful to see you sitting here before me. Let me embarrass you as an adult. And still doing wonderful things. All right, so we're going to look toward World Water Day 2024. Which is coming up on March 22nd.
Yes.
But you guys have an amazing mural competition
Yes.
that I know you're going to tell us how we can get involved. Maybe I'm going to break out some crayons and get in there. So start with you, Sade.
Yeah, I wanted to kind of tackle a bit about the concept. I think planning of the theme, leveraging water for peace. It could be a mouthful, so therefore I think just some steps I wanted to share today that would kind of help with that. So they define peace, freedom from disturbance and tranquility. That could look like from our lifestyles, that could look from a business perspective, that could look like for students, even for school. And so we want them to kind of look around the subject area of water conservation, climate change, looking at tanks, because we do have that in our project as well, and looking at it from a perspective of household, so identifying subjects that are definitely obvious around water. Then we could tackle to people we want to see in the mural, because we want to see either like extended families, perhaps, the BWA workers. We have different type of persons that we like to see probably displayed, and make any connections. So the ways that we can make connections is through like energy, of course, rainfall, farming, by extension, family and tanks for households. So those are the kind of connections we want students to make. And of course, being creative, because the planning is really a good place to start so that the creativity can be definitely on point for the mural. So we want to kind of offer those tips to others.
All right, excellent. So some of the themes that you'd like to see embodied in these. So what are we doing to be able to get in on this mural competition?
Well, it's quite simple. We have our social media posts. Just check up on that. And definitely you could go on our website and look at all the rules and regulations. It's not that much. Let me not scare anybody out there. But it's quite simply that we want the youth to understand the importance of water, especially looking at the angles and the perspectives that Sade would have brought forward. That is what we could just go and look at it. So we're looking at schools. So all primary schools can go on the website and apply. We do have it to be emailed. I mean, if there is a special request that you want us to come and collect the said piece, yeah, you can just reach out via email. If you have any challenges with the application process, we are willing and able to try to assist with it. We're really looking forward to see a large outpouring of artistic artwork. us people in the Caribbean and Barbados, we're quite talented. So we're looking forward to seeing that artistic expression under the, even though for us, leveraging water for peace does seem a little not really stationed for us. But peace means different things. Peace of mind, certainty that when you turn your tap, you know water's there. And there are little things that we can do to boost conservation and to boost our efficiency when we're using water, and we want those things to be reflected as well in the mural.
I'm so glad that you said that. Peace doesn't necessarily have to be in the box that we often tick off, which goes often opposite of that, which is war.
Yes.
But for us, in our neck of the woods, what peace means can look like something different, but it can be equally as important.
Agreed.
So, I love that you kind of underpin that, you underscore that. It's very, very important, especially that peace of mind. We forget how important peace of mind is. And when we look at it in the context of stability and our environment, for a lot of us, there's no peace of mind when you turn that tap.
Oh, yeah.
When you flush.
I think
when you go to drink and there's no water.
I think most people would ask, out of the amenities between electricity and water, which one would you prefer? And I personally prefer water.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
I know some Gen Xers that would say, or Gen Zers, which one? Yeah, that would say, no, I need my electricity. But we certainly get that water is life.
Yes.
And that's very, very important. Let's double back to the Green Climate Fund, which was founded back in 2010 as, of course, a financial mechanism under the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change. More C's to go. So let's talk a little bit about that fund and what that fund means to the region generally.
Okay, well, I will keep it brief, but the Green Climate Fund is headquartered in South Korea, and it was set up, as you would have mentioned, because of the world leaders did understand that there is a specific need for climate funds. We need to have, that's why it's a straightforward name, Green Climate Fund. Yep. So in that fund, we via the center, we have 2 projects here in Barbados, and we're working on one of them. And that is roughly about 50 million each. Ours is 45.2, and the other project with the center is around 50 million flat. The Caribbean, our Prime Minister would have mentioned that there is a greater need for our small island developing states to have energy projects. And our project deals with the nexus, the meeting between energy and water. And that is something that we seek to highlight every chance we get. So, in short, the Green Climate Fund is there to provide funds for countries like Barbados that are dependent on that are liable to be heavily impacted by by climate change, as well as other negative externalities.
Yeah, absolutely. So, generally to make sure that we are resilient in the face of many of the changes that we're seeing. So with that said, the way that we look at water a lot of the times is not necessarily the way that we should. I think for Sade, there's still a lot of wastage going on. So how do we bring this conversation to, and we can't even say it's little ones, because I think for some of them, they are far more engaged with things like this time. People who are creatures of habit, we're still standing around the sink and running water, and they insist on doing things that they really shouldn't. How do we continue that conversation with them?
So I think when we look at business already established that there's a need for savings. And if we look at it from a household perspective, I think it gives a better outlook at things. And maybe if anybody's too mathy in a family, they can certainly put some saving calculations together. I think that really helps with bringing perspective to the resources, especially electricity and water. So starting from there is really important, but I think we have to break it down into some of the lifestyle components. I think we still look at water in a big way, but really, truly, it comes from in your food. Even when I have to, deal with my vegetables, you can take them from the supermarket. I still soak them in the vinegar and stuff like that, and in water. I have to look at all of that, and where do I take that water from there? Normally, with my mom's handiwork of a kitchen garden, I redirect that water there. So by extension, there's small little things, and sometimes when I'm rinsing something, she's be like, put the water in the in the container, and I'm like, oh yeah, and then I do that so that she can then help with her garden. But these little things you kind of implement. So even as simple as the little ice cream bucket that you probably use, you can use that then to kind of redirect some of the water if you don't have the drainage system in your household to do so. But we have to be like very creative. So the same way how we're creative about sorting clothes and doing these little things, we could also look at what kind of clothes we wear every week. So you wear dark one week so that you certainly have a load. There's small little things, but I think it's being able to, the same effort you think about other things like meal prep, all of that, you do the same with water usage.
All right, good stuff. I'm always so intrigued when I meet people who work in these areas that really can be kind of squared off as advocacy, and in terms of a lot of what you do, where the advocacy stops or where the job begins. Has this always been an area that you've been interested in, Alex, or is this something that has grown on you over time?
Honestly, advocacy is a job, right? Let's start there. And I mean, I always had a natural inclination to understand the world around me, and I was looking at a video. I was doing a course at university, looking at solar voltaic, so PV, and as a result, that piqued my interest further. I mean, long story short, I met Shadi, and we're here today. What interests me about the project that we're in greatly is the intersection of energy and water. That goes not just at the utility scale, it goes on to our everyday decisions. And I think Shadi highlighted a very important point. Behavior is key in anything that we do when we're looking at managing resources. One of the things that we are doing as well, I mean, is not as nice as the Mural competition that we're doing, and that, we are going to give we're going to give winning persons for one primary school and one secondary school. Yes. Will get that wonderful mural. We're also going to give out to winning persons in the categories, certain prizes. And each person, we're looking to give them a little goodie when they actually go on and they apply. Another thing as well is that each competition, each person, each entrant, they will be placed on the UN page, and that is the repository of everything globally. So we'll be adding to the voices on March 22nd. But with regards to looking at our resources, we're currently doing something as well, looking at groundwater modeling. So we're looking at the actual resource of underneath our feet as we speak with the Barbados Water Authority. So we are doing awareness, but we're also doing a bit of work as well, both of which we do enjoy.
He started by saying it's work, and he ended by saying they're doing a bit of work. But I know that you put a lot of,
yes.
A lot of it comes down to level of effort.
Yeah.
And there really is no end. They all really tie into each other, which is exactly what you said.
Yeah.
It is work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you guys for coming in. I'm happy that it's a competition that's really open to across the board.
Yeah.
Find out more information by going to that website. The deadline is March 22nd, which is officially World Water Day. So prepare for that and think about ways that you can change your habits. Shademo certainly has given us some great ideas. Sure. She told me that I should wear in the same color family all in 1 week. So don't be surprised next week if you see me for an entire week wear all black, so that I can have an entire load, as she has suggested. Thank you for your work, Alex Harewood. I won't try to talk about your job title. And Shade Dean, they're both with the Caribbean Community Climate Change Center. Always good to have you.
Thank you for having us.
so much.
And make sure you get online and find out about that mural competition and enter it. I'm looking forward to all of those beautiful pieces that you are going to be churning out. It's time for another break here on Morning Barbados. The time is quickly going by. I can't believe that we're within the last 15 minutes of the show, but there's a whole lot more to come. So stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Wake up, wake up, wake up. There are some things that make mornings even better. And one of those things is Morning Barbados. You'll step into your day informed, inspired, and entertained. Tune in to CBC TV 8 Monday to Friday from 6:30 to 8 a.m. for Morning Barbados. Your morning must have.
Coming soon to this station, live coverage of the Barbados Secondary Schools Athletics Championships 2024 from March 20th to 22nd. BSAC, sponsored by the Student Revolving Loan Fund and CG United.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package because keeping you informed is our #1 priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is to you and keeping you reliably informed. Join us every day at 7 p.m. for CBC Newsnight.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
It's time now for us to tell you about the Caribbean Fine Arts Fair, and Anderson Pilgrim, Executive Director, is sitting in with us. He's here to put on the 14th installment of the CAFA Fair, which returns to Bagnall Point Gallery, Pelican Village Craft Center, and it's going to run from today through to the 10th, so you have a few days to get out, featuring 45 artists, and galleries representing 16 Caribbean nations, Ghana, Nigeria, Senegal, UK, and the USA. That's quite an amazing feat. Good morning, Anderson. Good to have you with us.
Good morning, Tisha. It's a pleasure to be with you.
All right, let's talk about this 14th installment of the CAFA Fair. What sets this one apart from the other ones that have gone?
Well, besides the fact that it's the 14th year we've been doing this, this year we've attracted artists from across the region as usual, but I think this year more than ever, the over 75% of the artists on the participating list are going to be here in Barbados with us in person. It's very exciting for these artists to come in and interact with each other. Even yesterday we were setting up and many of them came in from Puerto Rico, from St. Vincent, Trinidad, and everyone was so happy to greet each other and also see what each other are doing. We've made some tweaks to the program, but by and large that is the focus, to to promote the range of fine art across the region. And we are excited to have everyone here.
How are you able to kind of hold it together? Because I know most of the time you're based in New York. So how are you able to, you know, make that contact and get so many people interested in traveling to Barbados or sharing their art to be a part of the fair?
Well, the power of technology is a big help, that's for sure. I try to be in Barbados a few times a year, but my network keeps me moving from New York to Barbados and across the region. That network we've built over the 13 years has allowed us to continue to build the connections, and the information network is working for us with the technology that we have available. I'm doing a lot of Zoom calls with people from different islands and so on, and we stay in touch. Even with some of the institutions that we've been working with, as I mentioned, there's a group from Puerto Rico here, and they are part of a collective from Ponce in Puerto Rico. A couple of them have participated in the fair before, but this year they made an effort to be here. As I said, they wanted to be here in person to meet the other artists as well. So we continue to build those networks. Artists in other parts of the Caribbean want to interact with the artists here in Barbados. The northern hemisphere, the northern part of the Caribbean is very, very active. The Francophone and Dutch Caribbean, and they've been hearing about what's happening in Barbados. They want to come and see what's happening. So I am just a conduit for all of that, and I just try to maintain the contacts.
Excellent. Let's talk about what's happening in the coming days.
Sure. Well, tonight we open, of course, or gala opening, as we like to say. But the real business of the fair begins tomorrow. Our event schedule is pretty action-packed. We are working with the Barrow Center for Creative Imagination to present 2 short films on tomorrow evening, Thursday, from 7. So we will close at gallery at 6 to allow folks to get up to the university to see these films, one by Barbadian Alan Springer, the other by Chantelia Comin of Guadeloupe, an award-winning filmmaker and visual artist who has been presenting her work across Europe for the last few months. On Friday, this is one of the tweaks of the program with the Geek Squad, they call themselves, but it's all about the world of anime, cosplay, and the comic characters. I myself, I grew up reading a lot of the comic characters, but I didn't realize what a big market it is, especially among the younger generations who have caught on to it, and now with a lot of these characters being played out in major movies and television shows. There's a huge following. We have AnimeCon here later in the year. So we are going to have a whole evening and a whole afternoon and evening dedicated to that genre on Friday. Saturday, there are workshops for those who want to try their hand at painting or printmaking. We have 2 wonderful artists here, one from the U.S., Ross Brown, and the other, Moses Ross Suarez. He is originally from Dominican Republic, based in the U.S., and he's going to be doing a workshop on printmaking. We thought that it would be fun to engage the audience more instead of just the normal panel discussions and so on. And on Sunday, we finish up with 2 panel discussions. One specifically discussing the topic of climate change and its effects on small nations like Barbados, and I think that will be quite a fascinating panel discussion. So those are the 4 full days of activities. Of course, we have the art from over 45 Caribbean artists, and those representing those African nations you mentioned, Ghana, Nigeria, and Senegal. We were hoping to have the artist from Nigeria here in Barbados, but she was unable to travel at the last minute. And one of the things I must mention is just the within the region, especially the difficulty with air travel. All of the artists were saying to me how the machinations they had to go through to get here, from especially the northern part of the region. That's something that we really do need to address. These folks want to, they want to interact, and I'm sure Barbadians want to see some of those places too, but it's sometimes cheaper to go to Miami than go within the region. So, we're looking forward to have everyone here who has come in, not just the artists, but, visitors and folks in the industry, who will be here to see what's happening in our region.
I'm happy to say that you're moving into the realm of digital art as well. It says that the Caribbean Fine Arts Fair is definitely growing and kind of pivoting to include different types of art and different areas of art. And it's wonderful to hear that you also include workshops. So the artists are actively engaged and sharing and bringing other people along. Talk to me about your expectations in this 14th year as you look toward putting this on. It obviously is satisfying for you in more ways than one.
Well, this show has become a catalyst for a lot of the other things we're doing. I mentioned the topic of climate change, and there's a group of artists in the region who are coming together under that banner to market the work of the smaller islands in the Caribbean, the Association of Eastern Caribbean States grouping, to major markets. So that is something that we will get a chance to discuss in person a little bit while we're here. We've been getting a great response from the public hearing about the show and wanting to come and engage with the artists and see some of the participate in the activities we're having. So I am expecting growth of traffic to the fair, but also to be more engaged with the artists across the region about some of the issues affecting us here and how we can take it outside of the region to the world. Because the whole point of Caribbean Fine Art Fair is to expose the talent in our region to the rest of the world. And as we all know, we have a wealth of talent here in Barbados and across the region, and it's just about being exposed.
All right, beautiful stuff. So the Caribbean Fine Arts Fair celebrates the important contribution of Caribbean artists, visual artists, and the increasingly important role that Caribbean art is playing in the international art arena. It starts today with the gala opening reception, 6 o'clock. There will be opening remarks by Senator Dr. the Honorable Chantal Monroe Knight, musical entertainment by Mexican Terry Arthur and DJ Cairo. Then tomorrow, Thursday, the fair opens. Film screenings will also be coming up over at the University of the West Indies. Friday, they're sharing with the Beijing Geek Sheet a review of comic books and sci-fi screenings, gaming, fantasy, cosplay, and you name it. That's coming up Saturday, printmaking workshop, and Sunday, there are 2 presentations as well. So there is definitely a lot happening for the Caribbean Fine Arts Fair this time around. Make sure you get on and participate, and you can find them online. Thank you, Anderson. I wish you the very best, and I will, as I always do, take in at least some of the fair.
I look forward to seeing you there.
Absolutely. I have to report back. All right, so
thanks again.
We're going to take a break here and come back and wrap up today's edition. Stay with us.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Every day at 7 p.m., we bring you a comprehensive news package because keeping you informed is our #1 priority. Whether it's local, regional, or international stories, our commitment is to you and keeping you reliably informed. Join us every day at 7 p.m. for CBC News Night.
Wake up, wake up, wake up.
There are some things that make mornings even better. And one of those things is Morning Barbados. You'll step into your day informed, inspired, and entertained. Tune in to CBC TV 8 Monday to Friday from 6:30 to 8 a.m. for Morning Barbados, your morning must-have.
Coming soon to this station, live coverage of the Barbados Secondary Schools Athletics Championships 2024 from March 20th to 22nd. BSAC, sponsored by the Student Revolving Loan Fund and CG United.
The facts say Morning Barbados reaches an audience of over 50,000 and Newsnight reaches over 56,000. It's simple. When you advertise, you're getting your message to over 50,000 of your potential customers. Make the call to CBC Sales Department today and watch your business grow. Contact us at 467-5559 or email marketing@cbc.bb.
Morning Barbados is on the move, and we're coming to you every weekday morning from right here at the Standard Showroom in Wildey. Now, together, we're giving you an opportunity to win. All you have to do is submit a photo of that room that you want to see changed in a fantastic way. And the interior design curator here at Standard and all of their experts are going to get together and select the room that needs the most work. It just might be yours. All you have to do is submit your photo to info@standard.bb, and you could be here with us saying, "Morning Barbados, look at my beautiful space."
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
Well, that most certainly is it from us for today. We hope you had a great time with us here on Morning Barbados, taking in, of course, a bit of the live traffic passing outside. Take your time as you do what you do today and commute around the island. Coming up tomorrow, UWI Faculty of Law, Dr. Janelle Matthews, Deputy Dean of Graduate Studies, will be in to talk about the expansion of the postgraduate programs in the Faculty of Law. We'll look at some new programs, new developments, and all of the exciting collaborations and partnerships that are happening through that department. Plus, the Bridgetown International Arts Festival, they've joined with the Caribbean Fine Arts Fair to produce 3 performing arts events. We're going to tell you more about that as we hear from Andrea King, the Director of Culture and Arts for Love and Living. And you may remember a young man from social media who organized a full makeover for a homeless man. We told you about that. We shared the video. We're going to get a chance to meet him as well. So that's it from us for today. We want to encourage you to send your photos of those rooms that you want to make over to info@standard.bb for a chance to come in and greet and meet the curator here at Standard and getting all the action, make the house look the way you need it to look. On behalf of the entire crew, I want to remind you to wear your smiles as you go through your day, do something great for somebody, and most importantly, join us again here from Standard tomorrow, Thursday. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Barbados, get up. Good morning. Good morning, Barbados. Good morning. Good morning to you.